Welcome back to Master Your Money Mindset, Brain Hacks for Freedom. I'm your host, Deborah Fryer. I'm a catalyst for change, and I work with creative and spiritual entrepreneurs who are wanting to create more freedom in their lives and businesses. And I'm very excited today to welcome today's guest, Jessie May. Jessie is a personal branding coach and a tribe building expert, and she works with soulful entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, who need to be the inspirational face of their business so they can attract a lot of followers. And Jessie May and I are both from Boulder, and Jessie May has built this incredibly vibrant and popular and fun and very magnetic meetup. And it's grown to 2,200 and more, and they sell out every time. And it's really an amazing thing to see, because so many people try meetups and they fail, or they say it's a lot of work and they don't even get started, or they arrange a meetup and 3 people show up. And Jessie May has been able to put together this thing that is incredibly vibrant. So that's one of the things that I would love for you to share, if you don't mind, because you told such a personal story about like breaking down and sobbing, and it really touched me. And I thought, there's an audience that needs to hear this, because one of the things that we entrepreneurs get in our way about, and we convince ourselves this is true, is that we're all alone and we have to figure it out all by ourselves. And so I brought Jessie May on to help you realize there's another way, and that's actually not true. So that's one of the things that she's expert in. Another thing that she's expert in is branding. And branding and visibility is, again, a really important piece of having a successful business, because if we're invisible, or if we're not consistent with how we present ourselves, if you're invisible, nobody can find you. So you don't really have a business if nobody can find you to work with you. And if you're inconsistent, then you're sending confusing messages and people don't know what they're going to get when they work with you. And then you're also probably not going to have a very thriving business. So I've brought Jessie May on because she's got this international coaching business that's super successful. She's founded this group, Daring Divas, which is the meetup that I mentioned. And she's just a lovely goddess coach entrepreneur. So that's what I want to say by way of introduction.
Oh, thank you. That was, I think, the most beautiful introduction I have ever had. You said it so perfectly. I couldn't say that myself. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So I would love, since I already mentioned that you have this story about how you really hit rock bottom in your own coaching practice when you were struggling, and then you figured out something that just like shifted everything. So will you share that story with this audience?
Yeah, I would love to share that story. So I think many of us start businesses with this feeling of anything is possible, I'm going to make it happen, and nothing can stop me or stand in my way but me. And that's how I felt when I started my business. And that was, maybe in 2009, I think. So I quit my job, went to training to become a coach, went and got my master's degree in communications, and decided I was going to start my own business. And a year or so went by, and despite my determination, things were not going as planned. And I found myself in a place where I didn't really have any clients, maybe 1 or 2 that were paying me like pro bono rates.
It's not really a coaching business.
Yeah. Wasn't making any money, was working really, really hard with not much to show for it. And things were getting a little bumpy with my relationship with my husband, because I kept being like, I'm going to do it, honey. I'm going to do it. Just wait. And he was waiting and waiting, and nothing was happening from his perspective. So I found myself driving down the street one night in the dark, and it was a fall night, and it was raining outside. It was like an autumn storm, and it was an empty street except for just a few leaves blowing around. And I was driving aimlessly, not knowing what to do with myself, because I felt like I had this message, this gift, this brilliance inside of me, but nowhere to let it out, no one to share it with. And that felt really it felt like I was trapped, like something was trapped up inside of me, and it felt really painful. So I ended up just pulling over into this empty parking lot and parking my car and having this breakdown into my steering wheel where I just started sobbing, and I just felt so hopeless and discouraged because nothing could stop me. And yet here I was. So I realized at that moment that there was something missing, that the gurus, the mentors that I had been following had tried to express, and that was this thing with isolation. And they would say you can't achieve success in isolation. And that never really struck me how powerful that was or obvious that was before. But at that moment, I realized that I was really isolated, really isolated. I was an introvert. I didn't have a community. I didn't have a network. Nobody knew who I was. So how the heck could people find me, or would I have any clients? It made sense. So I decided at that point that I was going to take action and get myself unisolated. I was going to stop waiting for someone else to say, here you go, we acknowledge your awesomeness. Mm-hmm. You can speak to our group or lead this community or coach these clients. Let's hand them to you right now. No one's going to do that. No one's going to hand you that tribe, those clients. But that's what I wanted. And I think in some cases, that's what a lot of us want. It would be easier that way. So I decided to step up and become a leader, appoint myself a leader, even though I wasn't technically qualified in my own mind. I decided to create my own community. So I stopped being isolated. And I started this group, and I called it Daring Divas. And that was in 2011. And from there, it really, things really started to take off in a way, but not as much as I would like. Like, people started coming into the group and showing interest in what I was creating, but I still wasn't really attracting any clients to work with. So again, not making any income or really sharing my message in the way I wanted, because to tell you the truth, I brought in a lot of guest speakers at the beginning and didn't kind of hit. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a relationship between being in isolation and invisibility, right? Like, under what you're talking about, under your story, that's really what the issue was, right? It's like you were getting called to be visible because you're a visibility expert.
Yes. Well, I wasn't at that point yet. Mm-hmm. So that's where it took me some time it was actually a colleague one of those friends who is just like open and honest and will tell you like it is, and it hurts, but it's a good thing. and this was like 1.5 years into Daring Divas, where things were going okay, but it still wasn't producing the results that I was looking for. And what I was looking for is a platform to share my message and a place to grow my business and also impact my community in a positive way. The community part was happening, but the benefit to my business wasn't happening. Mm-hmm. So she said, hey, you know what? Can I just tell you honestly, what I see here is that, like, your brand comes across really cheap and immature and incongruent, and it's kind of all over the place. Mm. And I was like, what? Branding? What? Like, I never even considered a brand or, why that would be important. And so, at that point, I started to look at myself and try to see myself from the outside, and I realized, like, wow, you really do come across as a little bit cheap and immature. Huh. And immature was like my biggest fear, because I was young anyway, so I wanted to be taken seriously, and I did not want to be immature. So at that point, I went out to do everything that I could to become as knowledgeable as possible in what this whole personal branding thing was, so that I could clarify my message and start getting the results that I wanted. And so from that point, this is the point where I went to get my master's in communications. I mentioned that earlier, but it actually happened here a couple years into Daring Divas. So at that point, got my master's in communications, started working with a high-level coach to help me figure out my business. Started studying color psychology to get clear about what the colors mean and their impact and the emotional value of each one. And then I did my own personal branding, kind of like personal makeover to get myself aligned with the message and the brand I wanted to portray. And then I started seeing results. So once I got clear about my personal brand, my tribe started to grow in such a more intentional way. And I started to attract the type of people into my community that really inspired me and that I wanted to work with. And today, now, I'm so lucky. Every time I stand there in front of those women, it's like, this is real. This is real. And like you said, we have over 2,000 members now, and I've hosted so many events, like I think 567 events in the last 6 years since we started. And honestly, today I have plenty of clients, and I don't have to fight and push for those clients anymore. And the two keys to that are what I teach now is building your tribe and your personal brand, how you show up to that tribe, which involves a clear message, involves knowing who you're speaking to, right? Like who you want to attract. And there's a few other things in that process as well that I teach in my work. But I think that kind of sums it up.
I love that story for so many reasons. I love just your vulnerability of feeling so isolated. And then that moment of you appointed yourself a leader, because that is one of the things that I've noticed in doing these interviews is really a theme, is that every entrepreneur talks about in some variation of that theme. When you decide, the cosmos vibrates the path that will open for you. And
Yes.
When you decided I'm the leader, like that was it. Like there was no other option on the table, but you were going to figure out how to stand in your leadership. So I really love that you did that. And I'm really glad that you did that because I'm in your community. So I get to benefit. And so do all the other women in Boulder and whatever guest speakers you invite from anywhere in the world. The other thing that I think is really brilliant that you're doing, and that I want you to talk more about, is the value of in-person, face-to-face time with other women. Because there's a lot of hype out there on the internet. We've all seen it, which says like build your business overnight and make $1 million in a week. And, it's all this hypey stuff and funnels and clicking and, maybe that works, maybe it doesn't work. That's not what the conversation is. That's not the question. What I love that you're doing and what I love you to speak about is the value of building right where you are. Because there are people listening all over the world who want to start a business and they think, oh, I need to get a website and I need to master the internet. And you don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you've built a very thriving business, a 6-figure business, starting right here in your hometown.
Mm-hmm. I have, and today I'm lucky from word of mouth that I have clients internationally, but 90% of my clients come from this tribe that I've built. And, there's something about real human in-person connection that it's just not possible to achieve the same kind of connection in an online setting. I think that both are good and both are needed. But if I could give one point of advice for those who are starting out in a business that is like a service-based business, the coaching-related, coaching, healing type business, is that you are the thing that people want. You are what people are investing in when they choose to work with you. The differentiator between your service and all the other services out there that are similar is you. People can get a much clearer signal of your essence, of your energy, of your vibe, whatever you want to call it, when they have a real life experience of you. So when you're in person with somebody, speaking up in front of a room and maybe a meetup group that you run, for example, or you can even go into someone else's local community and give a talk. But when you're in person in that way, the transmission of that vibe is so much faster. So it puts you on this fast track to building know, like, and trust, which if you haven't heard it before, those are like 3 really important things that are needed for someone to feel confident in investing in your service. So we want to establish that know, like, and trust with our tribes, and that can be done online through video and your newsletter and strategies such as that, social media. But the fastest way to do it is in person.
Such great advice, right? It's just one more tool that we have in our toolboxes. And it's one that often gets overlooked because people say, well, I can reach so many more on the internet, but you might make a much deeper connection. And as Jessie May is saying, it can be a really quick way to build a relationship with somebody who wants to work with you long-term. So thanks for bringing that. You work with a lot of women, and a lot of women when they're starting out, and men too, have a real money mindset challenge. And one of the things that we hide behind is visibility. So I'm wondering for you, what's the connection between, like, what are you seeing in your business with the visibility issue and the money piece?
How visibility and money are connected?
Well, you shared how you hit a little bit and you hit a lot and your business really struggled, and then you got clear about your brand and you started speaking in front of people, and all of a sudden a lot of money came. What do you think is the biggest, like, what's the biggest money mindset thing that you hear about that you see in, I mean, you're looking at every, 4 times a month, you've got 2,000 women who are in front of you and they're here because they want to learn from you. What are the biggest things that you see?
Yeah, so visibility and making money are they're like this, like they go hand in hand. So I think that there is a common fear between most women or this polarity, I should say, of wanting to be seen and being scared of being seen. So our job is to acknowledge that exists and then decide how we want to move forward with it, what we want to do with it. Because if we let the fear overcome the desire, then we're going to stay small in our businesses, not working with clients, not getting our message heard, and not making the impact and the money that we need to make and want to make in our businesses. So it's just, they just go so hand in hand. Once you get out there and get more visibility and create more visibility for yourself, that's when you're going to start seeing results come in your business. And I think I mentioned earlier that I consider myself an introvert. So that polarity exists big time within me.
I have that too.
It's really strong, and it still is. But even as an introvert, I know that I wouldn't feel fulfilled if I just stayed at home in my little cocoon all day long. I still need a balance of being out there, engaged in the world, and then I do more quiet, activities to regenerate my energy. But the choice for me is to go toward my potential and not follow that fear of being seen. And it's a daily choice. It's like something that I have to practice every day, and it's been something that has evolved over the years to greater and greater extent of being seen. Still, like I'm still amping it up.
Cool. I can't wait to see what you're going to bring next. So I want to bring in now the color thing, because the color psychology is really interesting. So obviously your color is red, which is the root chakra, but can you just give us a little color 101 on color and branding and money?
Yeah. So every color comes with a unique personality type, a unique energy, and a unique expression that we're putting out there to the world. So when we're choosing our brand colors, it's good to be aware of what color aligns with the authentic me, and what color aligns with the tribe I'm trying to attract to me. And usually what you want is the color that's the authentic you, because you want people to be attracted to the authentic you.
Mm-hmm.
So you never want to try to, in personal branding, you never want to try to put on a show or fake it. You want to be real,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can attract the right clients to you. But I've created an assessment. It's called the Power Profile System, and there's 12 power profiles. So when you take this assessment, you get your results, and the results speak to what kind of messaging, like words you should use in your brand, the emotional impact your brand has on others, the personality type that shines through your brand. And in relation to money, some colors have a stronger pull toward money, or represent a brand that is more aligned with money than others, I guess I could say.
What colors are those?
Gold.
Gold, green. My colors are gold and green. I know that. And red.
Oh, your colors are gold and green. I love gold and green.
Yeah.
I love the branding actually on your telesummit. It's beautiful. So gold is a big one. Green is one. Silver is one. Those are the biggest money colors. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. Purple as well.
Yeah. Royal.
So those are the 4 biggest ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you can work with combinations too, because usually you have a power profile and a supporting profile. So you can combine 2 to create the uniqueness in your brand that you want.
So fun to think about how, we can represent ourselves by color, which is just energy, right? Like I've never even thought about what my brand is. In fact, I was so extreme that when I was in graduate school, my mother used to say to me, even when I was in college, my mother used to say to me, why don't you wear a color other than green? Like all my clothes were green or white or black or gold, like everything. And to this day in my closet, I might have 1 or 2 blue things, but like, I don't even look at that part of the store. Like are we wired to like certain colors?
We do. Oftentimes we have a preference, and it often is, that preference often follows us into our branding. But it's still, it's because I was with you with the green. But one thing I want to say in relation to that is, even if we have a preference for a certain color, we need to think about our brand as the future self that we're being pulled into, the future leader that we want to become. And sometimes we have a color that's been with us for so long through our childhood and whatnot. And not in all cases, but this was in my case, so this is why I'm sharing it, and I'll tell you why in a second. But in some cases, that color is not pulling us forward into the leader we want to become. It's more of a thing of the past, like who we were. So this was my brand in the beginning. Remember when I said, this friend told me that my brand looked cheap and immature. So my colors were pink and bright green. Green has always been one of my favorite colors. And pink, I don't know, I liked it at the time. And And there's nothing wrong with any color. All colors are great, and nothing wrong with pink. But pink wasn't the leader I wanted to be stepping into. Mm-hmm. It was more of the bringing the past with me into the present. So I shifted into the red because that felt more aligned, stepping forward into the leader I wanted to become.
And what is red? We see a lot of leaders in red, especially women.
Yeah.
Red suit, a red dress, red velvet. What does the red represent?
Red is powerful leader. Red comes with the spotlight, so being seen, creating visibility for yourself. Red is very action oriented and practical. And so combined with gold, which is my supporting brand color, I resonate with these colors and combination of these colors, because the gold is the spiritual, the aligned, the welcoming and warm presence that makes people feel seen and heard and cared for. And gold also bridges the gap between spirituality and wealth. So gold is, yes, about creating wealth, but at the same time, doing it in a mindful way. So yeah. I just
got truth bumps all over. I had no idea about that, but that is completely
the
of this interview series is how do you bring mindfulness to your money? And, we're talking about money mindset, but it's really about monkey mindset, right? How do we clear the clutter and the self-sabotage and the naysaying and the doubt from our beautiful brains so that we can just serve? I mean, for me, it is about service, and it's really about connecting with spirit and connecting with something bigger. And me being a witness, which is why I'm interviewing all of you. And I just get to listen mostly.
Such an important message.
Yeah. So I really love this topic, and I'm just so happy that you're here sharing. And I know that you didn't just offer, but I'm going to tell people that this personal profile system that Jessie May just told us about, that's actually her free gift. So if you would like to get your brand personality typing system based on color psychology, she's going to give us a coupon code. There is a link down below. You can click on it and it'll take you over to her website, and you can be on your way to figuring out what your brand is, what your, how to attract your authentic people and be on your way. Do you want to say more about that?
I think you said it pretty well, but I created the Power Profile system as a first step to help people get an idea of how they want to show up through their personal brands, because it's sometimes hard to figure that out on your own. So when you take this assessment, it will give you some clarity around that, including specific words and phrases to use in your branding. And how your brand personality comes across and the emotional impact it has. And you'll get to see the results of all the 12 power profiles. So when you take the test and then you look at what your results are, you can read about them, but you can also read about all the other ones too and compare. And what I just want to recommend, and there's some pointers in this, inside the power profile system, but I want to recommend that if you feel stuck at any point, or if you get a tie between two, listen to your heart, feel into what feels most aligned with you, and then make an empowered choice. Because the biggest thing standing between us and moving forward in our business, and in many cases, is a decision, a choice to move forward. So I want you to make a choice and move forward. It's gonna be okay. So I'm really happy to be able to gift that to you. It sells for $97 on my website, and you get it for free.
Yay! Gift. We love gifts. I love this whole thing, because isn't it great just to learn more about yourself and be more authentic? I mean, the whole point of why any of us is doing what we're doing is because we want to be our more authentic selves. And that's really the freedom that we're talking about in this interview series. It's not about the money. your freedom, when you know who you are and you're clear and pure in who you are, the money will magnetically start to come to you, just as Jessie Mae's been describing. When she got clear on her brand, people showed up for her. And that's true for you too. So thank all of you for watching. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you so
willingness
much.
to share your beauty and your brilliance and your gifts with us. Such a pleasure to have you both on this interview series and in my town.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank
Such a
you.
pleasure.